Welcome to this second special MGAA BIBA Conversations podcast. I'm delighted to welcome our esteemed panel who are partnering with the MGAA in Manchester for BIBA 2026. And I'll ask them to introduce themselves now. So if I could come to you first, Liz.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Liz Latcher. I'm CEO of Q Claims. Just to give a bit of background to Q Claims, we are a MGA trading a specialist insurance cover named Loss Recovery Insurance, and we help clients, and that might be private individuals, homeowners, right the way through to businesses of all shapes and sizes, and we support them when they make an insurance claim.
Thank you, Liz. Susan?
Hi, Mike. I'm Suze Deemer from Victor Insurance. I'm the head of sales and distribution there. In terms of Victor Insurance, we're one of the oldest and largest MGAs in the world. In the UK, we have 15 specialist products, so a real breadth of cover from property owners to farm. And how we kind of wrap it up is all about ease of transacting. So a lot of our products are e-enabled, but we combine that with, the hands-on touch of underwriters that are really keen to trade and have the technical ability to do so.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome. Emily?
Hi, so I'm Emily from Virtue. So we are a specialist underwriting business and we give our brokers access to a wide range of bespoke products. So we've got 4 distinct specialisms: fine art, private client, property owners and commercial risk. And I head up the property team here.
Welcome. And Darren?
Hi, so I think I'm probably the odd one out here. So I'm Darren Rudd. I lead the business and technology consulting teams for CGI. We're basically a global technology solutions consultancy with a long history, though, of working in the insurance sector. Basically, we help our clients understand and design their technology strategies, actually then build the platforms that they need, run those services as well, if that's what they want us to do. But we also help around the innovation side of it. So if someone's trying to work out what to do around emerging tech AI, then we can help them with that. And basically our goal here really is, and why we work with the MGAA, is to help people see through sort of the noise and the hype, particularly around what we've got going on with AI at the moment. Because if we don't talk about AI at all on this podcast, I'd be surprised. But to actually see how you apply that technology to make a difference. And our goal basically is to make a difference in the insurance market. That's why I've been here and why I've worked in the market for over 30 years.
Well, Darren, you might be the odd one out, but you're most welcome. There we go. There you go.
Thank you very much.
And finally, but last but not least, Simon.
Hi, Mike. Simon Taylor, the Commercial Director for First Underwriting. So First Underwriting is part of the B3 insurance group in the UK, which consists of First, Kingfisher and Kingsbridge. And we're part of an American insurance group called Ignite. In the UK, First concentrates on schemes and niche product lines. So we're primarily into all commercial motor, real estate, tour operators, which is interesting at the moment, professional indemnity, and then a whole range of specialist leisure and motor schemes that we work closely with partners and software houses across the UK.
Okay, welcome. That's why I think that's what makes the MGA sector so exciting, because you've got sort of 5 MGAs doing all sorts of different things. You've got a supplier sort of supporting MGAs. It's just such a dynamic sector and industry. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so BIBA 2026, and no doubt all of you have had different experiences. Some have been to many BIBAs, whatever. But first and foremost, it brings the whole market together. It creates fantastic networking opportunities, as we all know. So what's a great opportunity for all of you now is to sort of just share with our listeners, what are you looking to achieve and get out of the next 2 days? So let's come to you first, Emily, in terms of, BIBA 2026 Manchester, when you're on the train on Friday morning, whatever, what would you be hoping to have achieved?
I mean, as everyone will likely say, obviously it's all about relationships. We're there to build on existing ones. We're there to build new ones. But a really big thing for us here at Virtue is we're there to listen as much as we're there to talk and to sell our products. We want to hear where brokers are struggling in the market, where we can help them out, where there's gaps. somewhere where you can provide a solution to help them out. And BIBA is the place to get that, because that's where you see everyone in person. That's where those stories come out over the more casual conversations. So yeah, for us, that's a really exciting opportunity to, what's our next bespoke product? Where can we fit something new into the market? We're not just building things for the sake of building things. We want to build products that actually make brokers' lives easier, that capacity providers can support us on. So yeah, it's a really exciting thing for us to do at BIBA.
Excellent. Darren, what about yourself from through your lens?
Well, I'm feeling slightly less as a odd one out then, because as Emily said, that's pretty much exactly why we love being a BIBA. It's around that opportunity to meet the clients, but particularly again to listen. But we come at it from sort of the technology lens, and really understanding where are those challenges that people are facing from getting stuff done. Where's the technology getting in the way? Where's it actually helping? And what I'm really key, and what I do like about being at BIBA is you can really talk to people about what's working well, what has worked, where are the struggles, and that allows us to kind of shape, again, back to the way Emily has talked about it, how we shape our solutions to get the best out of the technology that's on the table today, to help people deliver something new and interesting in the market. And it comes at all levels as well. That's the nice thing about it, is you're talking to big international MGAs, smaller organizations as well. So it gives you a really good chance to sort of see how you can apply things differently. But listening is the key for us.
Good. And Susan?
I think a very common theme.
Yeah.
It is all about relationships. And I think the beauty of BIBA is that you kind of have multi-levels, multi-relationships, and different conversations with different people all the time at BIBA, which is brilliant. I think from a Victor point of view, we've gone through quite a lot of change in the last year. We've developed 2 brand new products. We've launched Farm onto E-Trade. We continue to invest in Acturus and kind of making business really simple. So for us, it's a little bit of a platform to be able to talk about some of those interesting initiatives. But really, it's just a brilliant opportunity to meet people all around the country that you wouldn't get to see in 1 day, 2 days, and just make the most of those relationships.
And Simon, I know you're new to first underwriting, but a veteran of BIBA's, if I may say so. But we'll have to compare how many you and I have been to. I think I'm a bit older than you, so I think I'm probably still slightly with nose in front, I'll imagine.
Yeah, there have been a few. So I think that the really interesting thing is to have so many conversations in such a short space of time, and you can bounce between each of those conversations, and having 75% of your customers and suppliers in the same postcode for 3 days is genuinely unique. But being a veteran, it's also an amazing opportunity just to have some fun with friends as well, and then spend the next year talking about the stories. From that BIBA.
And Liz?
Yeah, talking to a veteran of BIBA's. I think I've been doing it for at least 25 years, rather scarily. But there is nothing like it on the insurance calendar. There are just so many decision makers, so many people in that room all at the same time. For us, and I'm going to echo many of the other comments, it's about connecting with brokers and colleagues, talking about the market. It's those quick conversations as someone comes by the stand. It's listening to what's going on, how people are finding today's claims service, where their challenges are, how we can better help their clients. Yeah, it's just such a great networking opportunity.
Great. What I just want to try and introduce a sort of question I asked sort of the guys last week actually is and again I'll throw it open to anyone who wants to pick it up. So, all of you are dealing with the broker community. Just out of interest, how do you see the health of the broker community currently to 2026, perhaps to what you've seen in the previous 3 to 4 years? Anyone want to pick up that as a question?
I'm to start, Mike. Yeah. So I think, as always, the broking community is so dynamic in the UK, and it's always changing shape and changing emphasis. And I think, obviously, for the last 10 years, we've seen huge amounts of consolidation, and almost as a rebuttal of that, in the last probably 18 months, the AR community and the AR suppliers just seems to be exploding again, and that entrepreneurial element of brokers is really coming through. So it's constantly reinventing itself, and I think for me that's the biggest shift that I've seen in the last 18 months, as the consolidation and the M&A activity has slowed slightly because of the economic conditions. That AR market just seems to be exploding.
Which is healthy. Any other observations around the health of the broker community currently?
I mean, I think we're all quite aware of what's happening in the market at the minute, with the softening of the market. I think there are brokers under pressure to deliver in those markets. So I think it is, you see a lot of them, I guess, trying to move away from price, looking at quality, looking at how they can kind of work through and try and protect those margins a little bit as well. So it's a really interesting time in the broker market with that kind of pressure coming through, and how they kind of are reacting to it. I do feel like that price is sort of softened a little bit. I mean, obviously the rates are still soft, but I do feel that you see the brokers taking that initiative to sell and try and stop people going to market, and not understanding going to 5 different brokers and asking for the same quote perhaps isn't always the right thing from a customer point of view. And it's about trading with those right markets and having people that you can have a sensible trading conversation with.
To lead on from that, we're finding service is such a key thing now. Again, moving away from that price aspect. Yes, we are in a soft market, and yes, everyone is after, the best possible competitive rate. But we find that where we win and we keep our brokers is by service. If we're doing better than the composites, because we're turning things around, because they know they can pick up the phone and speak to an underwriter who can make a decision, like the outcome of that is of great benefit. Like it's a mutual beneficial relationship. And that's why they're choosing to work with us over some of, the bigger composites in the market.
I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm probably
Go on,
going
Nick.
to echo some of that from the experience I have as what I would say as a sort of a bit of a value add cover, that we've seen a big uptake in people taking our services as part of providing extra cover for a similar price to last year. It's, in the soft market, being able to offer clients more cover, more service.
Yeah, I think, all your comments are absolutely spot on. I think, Simon's comment around, I think we should all be encouraged around, ARs and new brokers and that, because, we all know the challenges in terms of if you're an MGA and you've got shrinking consolidation. But actually, up to the end of the last year, when we were looking at some data, there are more new MGAs launching than were actually brokers. So, I think I think it's so healthy when you've got the broker sector, either via the AR route or actually sort of starting up with direct directly with the FCA. I just think it's so much healthier for a sector, and obviously from an MGAs who deal direct with brokers, then the wider that pool is, and the better it is to sort of showcase your products. The more it shrinks, then the more challenging it gets, which all of you guys would know. What about yourself, Darren, in terms of your sort of client, in terms of that stuff? What's your sense? Because you'll be seeing it through a slightly different lens, won't you, in terms of broker investment and that sort of stuff? Are you seeing it in a good state of health?
Yeah, I think back to Simon's point on the M&A that's gone on, that's created a lot of pressure on the organisations to bring those different systems together. So there's been a big push to sort of operationalise that and improve that. That's created a focus around getting the data, because obviously if they want to go out and win new business and to work with you guys and find out where the best markets are, then getting that single view of data has created quite a lot of pressure in terms of pulling that data set together. On the flip side of that, and that comes back to what Susan was saying around it's not all about price, but there's been a lot of interest on our side in terms of operational improvement. How do I get the costs out of running the business to make them support the margin on that side? So it's been quite a big uptick on the data side of it. How do I get all of what I need in to be able to see the business? And then on the other side of it, how do I put the operations side around it to make it move more effectively and work better with the margins that we've got available?
Yeah, we definitely see that from an MGA point of view in terms of e-trade, and that kind of push towards that and trying to get quite complex risks through that as a sort of way of improving efficiencies as well, Darren. So definitely we see it too.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, very encouraging, the fact that you're all seeing positivity coming from our sort of broker friends, and we'll be seeing plenty of them in Manchester. I think last time I spoke to Graham, I'm sure Graham counts them individually in and out, because I think he said to me 9,026 in 2025, which was very, very accurate. So I'm sure he'll be looking to break that record in May of 2026. Okay, so I'm going to flip the next two themes. And I'm going to be extremely self-indulgent, so I'll make no apologies for that whatsoever. So how does the MGAA membership sort of assist you as a business and your business strategy? Very self-indulgent, but a lot of you know me quite well, and absolutely no apologies whatsoever for asking that question now. So let me go to you first, Liz. There we go.
Oh, thank you. So if I think about our strategy and being a member of the MGAA, it's been really helpful. It's provided us with a community of other MGAs and industry partners to network. And that might just be discussing issues and challenges we face, but also it's a community of potential clients as well. For us, I've seen a nice mix between the information coming out from the MGAA, from emails, from newsletters, through to all the face-to-face events. And I'm going to be honest and say I've attended quite a few of the events, and I find them very useful insights into different perspectives. Often in a way, perhaps I wouldn't have looked at it like that previously.
Yeah.
And it's just a chance to listen to others and reflect on our approach and our market offering, really. I have found it exceedingly useful being a member. Thanks, Mike.
Susan, I'll put you right on the spot here.
So for me, I think the MGA is good in terms of a sounding board. You're an independent voice in terms of what's going on in the market. So, I think it helps sort of validate what the opportunities are and how we work. Obviously, the event that you had last month was brilliant as well. It was the first time we'd been for a while, and actually we got a lot out of it. And we'll definitely be doing that and supporting those Leeds and London events in the future. I think it's also around the press as well. You're very vocal in the insurance press and fighting for kind of the points around the MGA market even. And I think having that vocal presence in the press to kind of champion the MGA cause is really useful.
Great feedback. Emily?
Yeah, I mean, very similar themes to what everyone else has said, but as you said earlier, Mike, it's a fast-growing sector. There's lots of MGAs coming out now, so to have a community where everyone can come together, we've all got the networking opportunities, is fantastic. And I kind of think of MGAs as kind of like an agile layer. We're quite flexible. We can adapt a lot more easily than the other markets. So I think having that community that's all working, to that same goal, to that adaptability, to that agileness, is great to be a part of.
Great, thank you. And Darren, you'll see it through a slightly different lens, won't you, as one of our valued sort of supplier members?
Yeah, so I think I like the idea of what Liz said up front around community. I think it's often difficult when you are a supplier of services to an industry to be seen as someone that can be part of that community.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the MGA really comes in for us, is we can attend things like this, be part of the BIBA as well, and actually have those conversations, because we've all worked in the market. A lot of our team have all been market members. So I think it's good to be part of that community. The other thing I like about it as well, though, is a lot of what we do is actually solve market-wide problems as well. So being able to listen to lots of people rather than leaving it to individual MGAs to try and solve problems, we've got that opportunity to try and build some economies of scale and solve some problems that sit across multiple people rather than an individual service. So that we couldn't do that without being involved in sort of a community like the MGAA.
Thank you. And Simon?
Well, let's first of all say what a rock star you are. So we'll get the one
It's
up.
all my team. Absolutely nothing to do with me whatsoever, and you know that.
I break it down into three key areas. And the first is that support around the distribution, bringing all the partners together, the customer groups, and that's really, really important. I think the second thing is then the learnings, so the various sessions that you put on, the courses, the seminars, that's really important from a learning point of view. And then thirdly, that regulatory support. So, and that becoming that voice and really making change. And a couple of years ago, when we were going through the consumer duty issues, and you really stepped in and fought for that argument around how commission was disclosed as an MGA and got that changed. I think right back to the beginnings of when the MGAA started, that would have always been the aim, but to actually put that into practice, that really showed that the MGAA has teeth with the regulator as well. So, and I think ultimately bringing those three bits together, it just helped. The organisation has helped normalise MGAs into being an absolutely critical and sizable part of the UK GI market.
Thank you very much. I'll share all that with my team, who, as you all know, do all of the work effectively, and they are the rock stars, certainly not me. Okay, so look, we've covered a number of areas, but this is the absolute key question now. Okay, so you'll all be with us in BIBA in May, at BIBA in May. Hopefully you'll all be attending our legendary drinks event on the Wednesday night at the King's Hotel, which is now absolutely legendary. So I look forward to seeing you there. But most importantly, how can brokers, how can people connect with you all at BIBA? So I'll start with you, Emily. So this is your showcase moment to say how people can come and talk to you, and then I'll go to the rest of your panel colleagues.
I mean, the simplest way is to come find us on the stand. So we're going to have representation across all the departments. So if you want to talk about sports and leisure, there'll be somebody there. Alcohol manufacturing, there'll be somebody there. Any of our pillars, come and find somebody on the stand. We are, if people prefer a more structured appointment, we are booking some short slots. So you can either get in touch with me directly, or you can ask to be added to our newsletter, and I can get that out to you with a link to book a slot. But obviously, we just hope to see as many people as possible while we're there.
Thank you. Susan?
So Team Victor will be there in force. So we got from our CEO to the sales team to product leads. So depending on what conversation you want to have, we'll definitely have the right people there. We are taking advanced meetings, so you can either message me or go through LinkedIn, either the Victor, and they'll put you in touch with the right people, or myself, Susan Deemer, on LinkedIn. And also, we're obviously going to have a presence on the stand, so we'll make sure that we've got people at the stand at all times to take any questions, and they can either answer the questions on the day, or we can arrange a follow-up if they're not the right people to answer any sort of more technical questions.
Fantastic. And Liz?
Yeah, Team Claims will be on the stand, on the MGAA stand. There will be myself, representatives from the product area, from the sales area, and we'll also have our regional adjuster from the north. He'll also be there, so if anyone wants to raise any questions directly about claims, they're very welcome to. We are inviting people to book one-to-ones with us, and we're sending that out via either LinkedIn or our email comms. And if all that fails, of course, I'll be at the drinks at the MGA reception on the Wednesday.
Simon?
Yeah, likewise, we'll be fully represented with the management team. We'll be on the MGA stands. We've also got our own drinks in the lock, and I might be around for the odd drink at various other functions as well, and hoping to recreate my favourite BIBA of all time, 2019, when myself and a very good friend Bob Darling were served the 4,500 bottle of wine by mistake. It was big.
Wow.
But you didn't send it back. You never sent it back.
We never sent it back.
No, fantastic story. And Darren?
Very similar. So we'll have Jason Potter and Kate Cordell, who are our general insurance directors, on the stand. The rest of the team will be roving around. And obviously we can't compete with the Wednesday night, but on the Tuesday night, we'll be running our usual Fight Club event. Flight Club, not Fight Club. That's the other event we run that's slightly... Flight Club, just to be clear, on Tuesday. So if anybody would like to come along, either ping myself or Jason Potter, and we can get you on the list.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so one thing for me to say is that the MGA stand is E70, and there'll be representation from all of your organisations plus yourselves. Hopefully there, E70 is the stand. Liz, Susan, Emily, Darren and Simon, thanks very much for your insights, your stories around BIBA, what you're looking to get out of it. And I look forward to seeing you all in May in Manchester at BIBA 2026. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much for listening. The MGAA welcomes all feedback on all our episodes, so please get in touch. Please get in touch with any suggestions on topics or new guests. And don't forget to subscribe on your chosen platform so you don't miss out on any of our future exciting episodes.